Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
I'm Maddy Grace Webben.
And I am Anthony Lerma.
And today we'll be playing part 8 of Suikoden 2, discussing everything up until we tell Shu that we are ready to go and finish the game. So before we get to all of that, my identity was stolen this week. Can I tell you guys all about it?
Oh my god, that sucks. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so as you guys are aware, I am an IT professional, and as an IT professional, I have to tell people to be extra vigilant for phishing attacks. And yet, but this one was a really, really good one, and it fooled me, who is a professional, so I want to share it on the podcast so that you guys can watch out for it. So my card info had gotten skimmed. I don't know if it was at a gas station or if it was a website got hacked. I'm not sure how. I've had this card for a couple of years now, so it could be literally anything. So my card information got skimmed, and I got a text that was like, did you approve a purchase of $405 in Louisville, Kentucky? And I said, no. And I responded to it. Then I got a call from my bank's, the caller ID showed my bank's customer service number. So I answered it, and they're like, "Hey, I'm calling on behalf of Ally Bank. He said that there was a fraud charge. Let's verify your account, get it figured out." And so I, of course, was freaking out because someone in Kentucky had skimmed my card information and tried to buy $400 worth of crap with it. So we're going through, and I verify my information, and I answer all of my secret questions and all of these things. And then the guy's like, okay, we're going to do a test of your new alerts for the system. So you're going to see a test alert come through on your phone. Just go ahead and respond yes to it. So he sends it to me, and it's like, did you just buy something for $500 in Colorado? And I was like, yes. But then all the alarms started blaring in my brain, and I'm like, wait, you called me, and I just gave you all of my verification information. I didn't call you. I did not initiate this contact at all. So I tell the person, I'm like, hey, so that quote-unquote test charge, it's not real. It just showed up on my account. It's like, no, go ahead and log out. I'll tell you when to log back in. It's just a test. We're going to reverse it, blah, 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 blah. And he puts me on hold. So while I'm on hold, I open up a support chat. I'm like, hey, did fraud call me today? And they're like, no, they did not. So I looked closer at everything that had happened, and the original text that was like, hey, you got a charge from Kentucky was from a full 10-digit number, but the one that I responded yes to was from a robot number. So what had happened is the bad guys spoofed their phone number to be the number on the back of my card that says, if you have problems, call Ally, so that it would be their customer support number. They spoofed their number to call me to get all of their information so that if they try to buy online, they have all of the information to do it. And they have enough information to add it to their Apple Pay so that then they can make a big purchase in Colorado. And then when it flags it for fraud, while I'm on the phone, they make me say it's not fraud so that they can make their big purchase in Colorado.
Really sneaky.
Really fucking sneaky.
Well, and that's especially sneaky because you said that the tip-off was that they called you, not vice versa. But even that, I'm surprised that was a tip-off for you. It wouldn't have been for me, because I know that whenever I make like a card, whenever I personally make a non-fraudulent purchase on my Wells Fargo card, that nonetheless they think is fraudulent because I went on a plane to another state, they do call me.
So here's I didn't think it was weird that they called me, because they have called me before when I tried to import some Doctor Who stuff from Britain. They're like, hey, you're not English. Are you sure that you're buying things from a shop in England? And I'm like, yes, absolutely.
Also, Doctor Who fucking sucks. Are you sure you want to
you sure you want to do this
stuff?
But so
we thought you had good taste. Why are you buying Doctor Who stuff? And you're like, oh, you got the wrong guy.
yeah, taste is not something that I got at all. But, when I was on the chat through the app with support, so I know I was connected with actual support and not just somebody who had called me, I put a block on all of my cards in the app, and because of that, when they tried to add it to their Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or whatever, all it showed was mobile wallet. It was like, are you trying to turn on your mobile wallet for $0? And I hit no immediately, like not even a second later. The card services number, not the ally support number, calls me, and it's a robot, not a person on the end of the line. And the robot is like, hey, blah 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 blah. Since you've voted no, do you want to be connected with a card services person to get this card replaced? And then you say yes, and then they did not ask me any verification number because they called me. And they called all my stuff on file. And worst fucking case, if I'm not getting access to anything, I'm turning something off. So if from their perspective, if they turn off my card for someone who's not me, I will just call them and be like, hey, why is my card turned off? And like they're shipping it to me, and all, like there's like no reason to get all of my verification information. So
absolutely. That's obviously ridiculous.
Yeah. So that's the big thing. If you ever get a fraud call and they are asking you your verification information, accidentally hang up on them, quote unquote, then call support yourself and handle all of that, and still probably get new card information and change all of your passwords and everything. So yeah.
That sucks. Well, I'm glad it all worked out. I'm glad you caught it. Glad you didn't actually get owned.
It hasn't actually worked out yet. So because I hit yes, they did get that purchase, so I'm disputing it, but disputes take 10 days. My rent comes out on the 1st and the 15th because I opted for the smaller payments. So it comes out on the 1st and the 15th, and because they took $800 of my dollars, I did not have rent. So I'm getting that taken care of, and that sucks, but it will eventually all work out.
Yeah, I mean, that is a clear, like, oh yeah, we even though you literally did say yes to this and mess it up, like, obviously we will reverse this because that's well within the boundaries of what counts as the kind of shit that they'll reverse.
Yeah. And like, I made other purchases in person in Wisconsin that day. So there's no way 10 minutes before. So there's no way I made it to Boulder, Colorado in 10 minutes to get an ATM from a Walgreens. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really sucked. What was really good, though, is me and Summer have been watching Business Proposal on Netflix. It's a K-drama. It's one of the best television shows I've ever seen, and I highly recommend it if you are into like shoujo, slice of life, K-drama-y stuff.
Nice.
Big recommend. It's hilarious. The plot line of it is that this guy is super rich, and his grandpa is super like on his case about getting married all the time, but he's too rich and business person-y busy to actually get married. So he hires an actress to pretend to be his girlfriend, and of course they end up falling in love, but it does not go as one would expect. And it's all of the things that are not going, like, when I read the synopsis, I'm like, okay, I'm on board for this. I've seen a variation of this before. I know what I'm getting into, but it's a well-told story, so I'm fine with it. But it has not been going the way that I've expected, and it's very, very good. I highly recommend. And then we're only 6 episodes in, and you get 2 a week. So
what's been going on with me this week is, honestly, again, one of those weeks where I'm like, oh man, crazy week. And then you ask me why, and I'm like, the only really particular thing is that, well, first of all, God damn it, seriously? That's really annoying. I thought I would check on something before complaining about it to see if I had an update, and no, I don't. I've been having a bit of medical issues, as usual, which is annoying. I'm 4 or 5 days behind on my Adderall, so my brain isn't working very well, which sucks a lot of important organizing stuff I need to do. I gotta say, I'm doing pretty damn well this week for not having Adderall. It's a pretty mid-tier week as far as how well my brain has been working and how productive I've managed to be. But frankly, I've had mid-tier weeks on Adderall, so it's pretty. I'm feeling okay about myself. I'm annoyed, but I'm feeling okay as far as like my own judgment of myself goes.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, does it suck. And of course, Walgreens, they're just like, we'll have it tomorrow, and I'm like, bitch, it is tomorrow. It's been tomorrow. I really hate how Walgreens lies to you. It really, 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 really makes me mad. I think it might be evil, actually. I think that if you're not going to have it tomorrow, you just shouldn't tell me you're going to have it tomorrow. Just tell me when you're going to have it, and if you're never going to have it, just tell me you're never going to have it. Last time I had an issue getting pills, it was because they kept doing the like Lucy with the football, right? And saying, oh, we'll order it, we'll have it soon. And then I call them soon, and then they're like, oh, it must have been a mistake, now we'll order it. And eventually I realized that their supplier was completely out of stock and had been for months, and they had no idea when they would stop being out of stock. And I'm just like, you could have just told me that. You could have just told me that. Of course, I know why they don't tell you, because if they tell me that, I'm going to go somewhere else to get my medicine. But they should have told me that, because I was without my hormones for like a month, and it was really bad for my body and brain. Anyway, now this is happening again. But the problem is it's happening with Adderall, and I've never had a problem getting Adderall before. So I am wondering if, it's sunk cost fallacy, right? It's like switching to something else would take a week. And what if they have it tomorrow, right? And normally I don't want to get caught in that sunk cost fallacy. But again, the last 3 times I got Adderall, there was no issue with it at all. So I'm like, I'll give them another day or two, see what happens. The other thing is that I finally did manage to, by not going through Walgreens, and also giving myself plenty of time to deal with the problem before it became a problem. I did finally manage to switch from pills to injections on my estrogen, and I finally got stabbed in the butt and injected yesterday. I thought it was going to hurt a whole lot. Turns out it doesn't hurt at all. I barely felt it. Maybe I don't have any feeling in my butt or something. I don't know. But I was so nervous, and then I was just like, wait, that's it? Really? Huh. Cool. So that's cool. I'm also out of progesterone. That's my own fault. That one's on me. I'm not mad at anybody for that one except for myself. So the point is, though, because of being off of 2 of my pills, I'm feeling weird. It sucks. And only one of them is not my fault, so I can only get a little bit mad. Other than that, Stranger in Paradise is a goddamn masterpiece. Okay, that might be putting it a little bit too strong. Stranger in Paradise is really dope, and I like it. I played the entire demo, which is just the first opening amount of the game. It's not any different than just playing the first 3 missions of the game. It's really weird. The storytelling is bizarre, and I don't mean it's partially bizarre in a neutral way and partially bizarre in a bad way. The pacing, it like will jump around between scenes. Like it's very clunky is what I'm saying. But once it establishes itself, it's got a really interesting narrative, actually. It's got a very interesting plot that is very intriguing. I will spoil it because this quote-unquote twist happens at the end of the literal first level. You go to kill Chaos, and you find out that Chaos isn't real. He's just a metaphor for like the evil that men do. And the villain, and then your hero Jack is like, no, I need to kill Chaos, though. So that sort of, it's very interesting. Your main character has a deep and powerful need to murder a bad guy and save the world, and everyone's telling him that there isn't one. like this game. If you played Nioh and liked Nioh, you will definitely like this game because they're very similar. Yeah, I don't know. It's dope. That's pretty much it. I feel like some other shit happened, but I don't remember what it was. So y'all should play that game. It's great.
The Polygon review for Stranger of Paradise says that Final Fantasy Origin is the best big dumb game I've ever played, and that makes me excited to play it. I might actually finally get around with it.
It's big and dumb, and it definitely has terrible graphics, and is one of the best PS3 games I've ever played.
It feels extremely like a PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah.
In every way. It feels like a mid-tier PlayStation 3 game. I've only played a little, but... So
whenever I'm playing an action game, I'm always going to put it on performance mode because... Honestly, I don't care. I'm not going to count the pixels and bitch because it's 720p instead of 1080p. Okay, like seriously, who gives a fuck? But I do want that silky smooth frame rate for the sake of it being an action game. If it's not an action game, I don't care. I'll put it on graphics mode. However, in this game, if you put it on frame rate on action mode, performance mode, man, I don't know what that resolution is, but it's not a lot, and it's to the point where it's like difficult to see things. It's like Dragon Quest 11 on Switch level, like blurry ass graphics. It's kind of hilarious, but also it's just like, goddamn. I might honestly but if I get the full game, like I might honestly switch it back to graphics mode and just deal with some slowdown because it's that bad.
Jeez.
Yeah. Like, it definitely looks a lot less good than Final Fantasy 13 2, which is a literal PlayStation 3 game. Anyway, that's it for me.
What about you, Anthony?
So this week I was watching my friend's dog, no longer doing it. Thank God. Owning two dogs and being one person is a very difficult thing.
Sounds tough.
And now having back to single dog life, I'm really loving my choice. But yeah, so most of these weekend, I'm trying to think. Went to Santa Barbara, did a little bit of, went to restaurants, sort of the beach out there. It's very nice for a little day trip. And then really, I'm trying to, like Maddy, I feel like I did stuff, but I just am at a loss for what I did. Things are picking up in sort of this next few weeks. I have something to do every week, which is kind of crazy, to be honest. But sort of video game wise, I'm about to beat Ghost of Tsushima. I know I'm late to the game, but I'm playing the director's cut. The game itself, for me, has been an interesting up and down. Obviously, I love the fact that it's a story about a guy and his uncle.
Love that uncle magic.
No, I really enjoyed the director's cut. Added a new sort of land, the Iki Island land, which was really good. And you could tell the graphics and sort of the narrative is more like really diving into character. Whereas the main quest in the game, which I'm finishing, is kind of just like, yeah, we're gonna kill this guy. This guy's real bad. Gonna kill this guy real bad. And so I felt like I did a mistake in where I did the Iki Island stuff before I should have. And then I was like, oh, this is really fun and really hard. And it's like when you get really into the battle or the combat system in that, and I'm sure you guys have played, it's just really addicting. Oh, really? Oh, it's really addicting. The battle, getting overwhelmed is... Getting overwhelmed is like, in that game is so fun because it's pure instinct. You're just panicked. You're like jumping off of things. You're like trying to run away. It's just, you actually feel the chaos in it, which I really like.
Chaos.
We have to kill chaos.
To kill chaos.
But I'm excited to beat it. I could see what's people's favorite game for a long while. And then after this, I'm gonna probably be Ghost of Tsushima first, then Suikoden, and then I'm video game free. So maybe I'll jump into Strangers. But I don't know. I read the Polygon review as well, and it sounds really interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I was maybe going to have my first Souls-like be Bloodborne because I have it, but maybe I'll let it be this one because apparently there's a save point outside of every boss room, and I'm a little babby. I'm a little shitty babby.
You can.
There's also a save point outside of every boss room in Elden Ring.
Oh, nice. Having this game be your first Souls-like, it's a little funny because this game is definitely much more than Nioh, far enough away from being a Souls-like that it basically isn't. For example, me and my girlfriend have talked about this. Something that's really cool about video games nowadays, and I mean that not sarcastically at all, I think this is awesome. You see this with music too. When a genre of music first appears, everyone is like, this is the genre, this is the new hot genre, you know? Especially if it's like a micro genre thing, like it's like electronic music, like when Vaporwave first appeared. Vaporwave, when it first appeared, it just meant music that for a little bit it just meant music that sounds like Echo Jams by the guy that made Echo Jams, who's a very famous electronic artist whose name is I'm blanking on for some reason like an idiot. And then Vaporwave just meant music that sounds like Floral Shop. Then it became a bit of its own genre, and it was a big craze for a while. But now, it's kind of faded away. Okay, I mean, it does still exist. But more importantly, a lot of its ideas just percolated into all kinds of music. So now, if you hear something that does the kind of shit that you hear in Vaporwave, you don't think, oh, this is Vaporwave. You just think, oh, they're just doing that thing. And I feel like we're post-Souls enough where, like, you don't have to be making a Souls game to have attacks that require significant commits or to have save points that also make enemies come back and then have level designs that involve like big loop rounds, or to lose resources when you die and then the resources stay there and you can re-get them, which is actually a nicer way of dealing with things. People think it's mean, and it's like, no, the fact that you can get them back at all is really nice, actually. There's all these little game design ideas that used to be like, oh, you're making a Souls game, but now it's just like, no, you're just making a video game, and these are just good ideas that all kinds of games are using now. Like how Shovel Knight had Dark Souls' soul system when you die, right? Where you would leave behind money. Shovel Knight's not even really close to Dark Souls, right? And I think that's really, really, really cool. It's good. Like it's like, oh no, these are just good game design ideas, and anyone making an action game post Dark Souls is obviously going to be having those things in their toolkit as possibilities, right? So whereas Nioh was definitely like they're doing kind of a spin on a Souls thing, Stranger Paradise really isn't. Stranger Paradise is like they're doing a fun co-op action game that is sort of, it takes influence from character action. It takes a lot of influence from shit like Destiny, where you're just constantly getting a gazillion little bits of loot and wanting to play over and over online with people. That like that grind, you know? And then it also is taking definitely a lot of influence from the Souls series. It's really cool. However, it is a stupendously complex game, and I still say if anyone wants to get into the Souls series, you should just play Dark Souls the first, because it's definitely the easiest one to get into and is a lot less hard than, for example, Demon Souls.
Elden Ring is the easiest to get into and a lot
more difficult
than, for
I've
example,
heard everyone say
Dark
that,
Souls.
actually, which I just didn't think about it because I haven't played that game yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Elden Ring still hasn't had that bit of hype to win me over, but I've heard that it's phenomenal.
The fact that everyone is saying it is by far From's best game and also maybe the greatest game of all time enough hype for you?
Oddly enough, no. But Polygon saying that Final Fantasy was big and dumb and they loved it was, I'm a complicated man. I need the perfect amount of...
One more thing about Stranger of Paradise to make it even weirder. They're already doing a lot of weird stuff. That they're toying with FF1. They're toying with Legacy of the series in a weird way. One more thing. The second dungeon in the game, narratively, it's just a place in the game. It's just an actual place in Final Fantasy I's narrative that exists. Then you get there and you're like, these graphics are the exact same as a specific raid from FF14. That's weird. And when you die, it's like you're playing that raid from FF14. And then when you die, one of those, like, you know how they'll do like lore in the load screens? The lore is like, yeah, the builders of this cave of this cave system modeled it after a place from Dimension 14. And I'm like,
Interesting.
uh-oh.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the next area was modeled after something from Dimension 2. So now I'm just like, fuck, what the fuck is going on here? Oh, jeez.
Sam, if you need Elden Ring to be big and dumb, there is a boss named Radon who is an absolute giant. He's enormous, but he learned gravity magic so that he can ride his favorite tiny horse.
I did see a GIF of the horse jumps in this game, which are kind of big and stupid enough that I might play it just to watch the horses jump.
You can jump around and do all sorts of fun stuff on the horse.
Yeah, they really innovated, because one thing that sickos like me love about Dark Souls is that there's not a jump button, but there is a way to jump via running and then hitting the run button to do a really weird kind of leap that's very hard to execute and aim properly, and the game gets a lot out of doing very, very janky, unintuitive platform sequences using this. Anyway, Elden Ring is like, yeah, but what about if you had a horse, and you could do horse jank platforming?
I'm looking at the photo Bernard shared. I just don't know what I'm looking at.
It's hard to see the horse even.
I gotta look at this. I gotta see this.
Oh my god.
It's really good. Like, I love it. But it's just
Incredible.
Okay, maybe it's big and dumb enough for me to play it.
Iconic.
I'll probably grab it on a sale whenever it's on sale, because I have a lot of games to play.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not going to be purchasing Stranger of Paradise because I'm having continuous money troubles. I got to pay $1,000 tomorrow to fix my car. But there is, if I'm going to buy a single video game with my very, very limited money, it's going to be Kirby in the Forgotten World, which comes out in like a week.
Yeah, I had to pick between Stranger of Paradise and Kirby for my game lock on GameFly, and I picked Kirby.
Yeah, it's going to be Kirby. Sorry to change your paradise. I like the demo, though.
What about you, Bernard? How was your week?
Fine, let's go.
Cool. Things that are totally fine.
Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, speaking of things that are totally fine, that end with us telling Shu, let's go. Let's talk about Suikoden 2 for the week.
Very subtly done, Sam.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta say, earlier I was complaining about how we have a whole lot this week. It's not really that much. I don't know why I thought it was so much. Maybe I had a hard time writing some of these notes, so maybe it just felt like it was more notes than it really was. Anyway.
Do you guys find... Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, this episode this play, I was so confused about some of the generals and some of these characters. I was like, wait, have I met these people before? Are they getting their first dialogue lines? Like, has it been a while since I've seen them? Did you guys find...
For perhaps the first time in the game, didn't feel that way.
Oh, okay, great.
Maybe I finally managed to figure out who's who at this point.
There were 2 or 3 of these Fire Emblem battles where my characters would die because I wasn't even trying to play them. I was just letting Apple do everything. And they'd be like, oh, this wasn't my time to die. And I'm like, who are you? I've been following a guide to get the 108. I ended up giving up, and I'll have words about that later. But I should know everyone in my party. I have no idea who you are. But, welcome to the team. Sorry you died.
I know all these people. Like, I don't get why something about this game is clicking for me that's not for y'all.
I mean,
maybe you have to play the first game. I don't know.
Like it's clicking for me. I'm enjoying the like the battle system and stuff, but the Fire Emblem battles, I don't like the fact that your basic dudes move 1 square, and because of that, I just said, well, this is boring, and I don't want to do it anymore. So
you're just like tuned out, yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, and the character in particular is Uber, who I was like, do I know this person?
No,
he was introduced. Actually, fun fact that you mentioned that, because we're getting there.
I know. I'll let you do it, Maddy. Sorry.
Well, Hubert was first introduced. Like literally in like the second
dialogue box,
the literal last dialogue box last week. Exactly. So no, you don't know him. He was just a guy that was mentioned literally in. If I look at my notes and I scroll up 1 paragraph, that's Huber's first mention.
Huber is just a random dude who likes to fight with bad guys. He was in the first game as just a random dude who likes to fight with bad guys.
Yeah.
On the side of bad guys, I should say.
Yeah, I was just like, who is this FF4 and the Cecil guy? Like, what's going on? I'm like, I've never seen this guy before.
He does look like a much more important character than he is because of his design and everything. I figured he'd be important too, but he's not, at least not yet. So yeah, speaking of all that, when we last left our heroes, a bunch of stuff had just happened that basically resulted in us getting some new allies. And then we found out that now is the perfect opportunity to go and take Green Hill. We actually can do it this time. We're going to retake it. We're going to score a big win for our army. And yes, we found out that Green Hill is currently being controlled by some guy named Uber. I believe they may have had more than 1 line where it's like, oh, Uber, oh god, it's Uber. And I'm like, cool. So anyway, so we're about to go do that. So at night, a mysterious character shows up in Toby's room. Her name is Lucia, and she asks if we're Toby. When we say yes, she says, prepare to die, and we have a duel.
Except it's not a duel.
It's a 1-on-1 regular battle.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, whatever. It's a battle. I just wrote the word duel because it was 1-on-1. But you're right. That's a different battle system. It's a fight.
Also, she attacks with a whip, and I feel like if you're going to assassinate someone, a whip is a bad choice.
Yeah, don't use that.
Well, maybe she was gonna assassinate us with like poison while we're sleeping, and then we woke up, and she's like, "Ah, fuck! I wasn't prepared to actually fight someone. I guess I have a whip." But anyway, we fight her, and we win. And then she's on the ground like, you beat me, and others rush in like, WTF. And she says if only she could kill Toby, the war would be over. We have a choice to let her go or put her in the slammer. At this point, I've been trying to play quote-unquote in character, even though you can make a case for either way. I actually think at this point it's very reasonable that even like the nicest little nice boy in the world would be like, no, we're not letting you go. You just tried to kill me. We are in a war here. This is no time for being like doing like the anime turn the other cheek thing. Like I'm not going to kill you, but Christ almighty, I am going to lock you up so that you won't, I don't know, try to kill me again tomorrow. So I decided to throw her in the slammer. Is that what y'all did?
I have something hilarious about that. So for the first time, I did the anime, and I was like, "You can leave." So then later, when she comes back to try to kill you again, my game soft locks, And so I'm playing on emulator, so I can.
You obviously should have thrown her in the slammer.
So I finish the battle with her, and it goes to a black screen, and it never comes out of the black screen. But I can rewind in the emulator, so I rewind back into the battle, finish it, and it still doesn't leave the black screen. Something about the battle even the black screen is borked, and I couldn't get out of it. So I had to reload my save. But I'm like, you know what? To avoid the soft lock, I'm going to throw her in the slammer. Except she escapes out of the slammer, and you have to do that boss fight anyways. So sucks to be me, but it worked. It worked fine the second time. But yeah, so I did it both.
Yeah, I did the turn the other cheek and let her go. One, because fun fact, and I'm this character happens to be the mother of the protagonist in Suikoden 3.
Oh, neat. That's really cool, actually. She's actually a pretty cool character. I like her quite a bit.
Yeah, I kept expecting her to join my party because she seemed big and important, and she will future be big and important, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's just like this late game new character that shows up and has a whole little arc thing that's actually quite cool, but yeah, it doesn't, I'll spoil it, she doesn't join our party unless she does next week. Oh wait, we already have all 108 stars, so no, she doesn't. Or I don't, but theoretically, right. So anyway, I decided to throw her in the slammer, though as y'all may have figured out, it doesn't matter. So later, we get briefed on the plan. This is a lot of really cool military strategy in this week. So the plan is there's going to be two armies. The first is going to head directly to Green Hill to liberate it. The second one is going to head to the Muse Green Hill border to stop enemy reinforcements from Muse from going and reinforcing Green Hill. Now we get to pick which of these battles we want to do. Or we can pick neither. We can pick to stay at the castle. Now, I can honestly see an argument for that in theory. We are literally the leader of the entire country. Maybe we shouldn't put ourselves in direct danger of dying. However, no one actually makes this argument because everyone in this game loves fighting. But imagining that someone had made this argument, I go ahead and pick it. Also, that's a very strange thing for the game to let you do. Yeah, did y'all actually do one of the fights?
Yes.
Yeah, I ended up doing both of the fights because of the aforementioned soft lock.
And they're actual fights, huh?
Yep.
That's neat. So I missed an entire fight. So here's what happens. It's actually very cool. So you hang back, and you're stuck in a room for a long time. Like, you just sit there in real time while you wait for updates to happen. You can just walk around this small little room and talk to NPCs while you wait for messengers to come in. So you wait, going stir crazy, along with everyone else, while we receive reports. First, we hear that the border army has engaged Muse, and then that the army is being led by Joey. We get to give some orders here, like whether to advance fiercely or to play it slow to buy the other group time. I picked the latter. Next, we hear that the Green Hill force is about to engage Highland over there. And again, we get to pick whether to annihilate the fuck out of them or be careful so as not lose too many troops. Considering we just now are matching Highland man for man, I decide we should be careful to not lose, not have too much attrition here. We get a number of more decisions like this that I won't go through. And we also find out that the Green Hill army is being led by Lucia? Okay. I guess she escaped in between the previous scene and this one. That was silly.
There was a throwaway line of the, like, after you fade to black, after you throw her in the slammer and you come into the main war room, Victor is like that snake. She escaped in the middle of the night or something.
Yeah, the guy mentioned that. I must have been mashing A or something. So anyway, I think, hey, I don't know if you can fuck this up, but I tried pretty hard to be smart about it, and we won. It's a really cool little scene. So they liberate Green Hill, and they ask us to come immediately. When we get to Green Hill, it turns out that things are not quite so peachy as we thought. Kiba says that though the army did withdraw, the city's gate remains shut, and the walls are very sturdy. We don't really have time for an extended siege because the enemy would probably regroup and probably surround us, and it probably would not be good. So we then remember that there's a secret passage into the city that we used earlier in the game. In fact, Teresa tells us that there are many such passages from olden times. She gives a little bit of lore here, and I didn't write it down. So we gotta sneak in and open the gate. I'm gonna give the game a little bit of a point here. Point for finding a way to do the whole trope of, yeah, this is a game about giant armies of tens of thousands of people clashing, but finding some way for the player to actually be useful. Makes perfect sense. No complaints here. We go through a little dungy, as I wrote here, featuring the hilarious balloon status effect, and encounter Lucia. We fight her again, noting that she seems particularly pissed at Teresa. After defeating her, we ask what's her deal, and she explains her deal. She's from Karaya, who have often been at war with Greenhill, in her view, being the aggressors. Then, one day, at a peace council, or what was supposed to be a peace council, Teresa's dad, aka the mayor of Greenhill, and Goruda, the mayor of Matilda, poisoned her dad to death. So Teresa's shocked to hear this and is like, yeah, I understand why you're mad. After the war's over, she says that she will seriously investigate this and will make things right with Lucia's people. She also is like, look, Toby isn't like these jerks that we've come before who just love war and are assholes, and encourages Lucia to watch how we do things and decide for herself what to believe. She doesn't believe this for a second, but she acknowledges that we did just defeat her, and there's really not anything she can do at this point. So she just says, well, what am I going to do to stop you? So we enter Greenhill from the back, which means we're at the university. It's completely empty, as far as I can tell, except for 2 students. The first student saves our game, and the second student says that we could, quote, use a rest, and then gives us a little smooch, which is funny. Toby has a little, like, embarrassed, flushed face when that happens. If I'm reading this price correctly. So we then go into Greenhill proper. We, as usual, have a couple battles with random soldiers that are completely pointless because we always win these battles in like 2 turns. That hasn't changed. And then some really good music starts playing, and a dark, heavily armored figure materializes in front of us. It's Hubert. He tells us to go fuck ourselves, and then he calls forth a monster. And he's like, oh, I call you forth, the master of darkness, the prince of evilness, or whatever. And I'm like, again, it's just like, he's got to know he's a bad guy, right? You know, given the way he dresses and what Bernard says about how he shows up in other games and he always fights for the bad guys, maybe, unlike everyone else in this game who has some sort of pretense at a complex motivation, he does just like being bad. And he's like, oh, 2 people are fighting? Which ones are the bad guys? Anyway, he summons a bone dragon, and it's really big. Did y'all have any trouble with this one?
It was hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the most trouble with
me. I could not keep him alive.
Yeah, I had the most trouble with that one of the week, but I did not have nearly as much trouble with any of them this week as I did the fucking rock dude last week.
God, that's the tough one. Yeah, this guy took me 2 tries. One of those battles where he hits really hard, and it feels like it's sort of a long sludge of a battle, but if you just go all out, he doesn't really have as much health as you think he does. Mm-hmm. So I just played it really aggressive, which is honestly generally the move in this game. Honestly, it is be very aggressive, but I had to rejigger my characters a little bit and do some shenanigans. But yeah, there you go.
I've found in the bosses now, you need to do magic pretty much 90% of the time. I mean, hits are great, but it's most effective if you're rune magic and blocking and like protective magic at the same time. Just all magic.
If you don't have dudes with attack over like 250, you should just be using magic.
Yep.
Thankfully, I have 3 of those, so my front line is doing all attacks and my back line is doing all magic. I feel like I'm following the rules that Final Fantasy IV is instilled in me of front row and back row.
So anyway, we beat Hubert and he yoinks away, so we don't get to beat him. And the army withdraws, and everyone in the town is like, yay! But then we get an urgent message to return to our castle. Unyay. It turns out the reason that this whole operation went so smooth was because literally the majority, over 50%, of Highland's army was actually off doing something completely different, aka capturing Matilda. Fuck. Joey but we're like, but Joey, their main leader, took part in the Muse fight. Yeah, that was to sell it to us, basically. The only person who they managed to take 2/3 of Highland's army, led by only a single guy, Leon, with only one general, and they managed to take Matilda. Also, apparently, Gerudo immediately caved because, as we saw before, he's a coward and a snake and a fink. Oh, I decided we should bring back the word fink. It's a good one. So, on the other hand, this does mean that Muse is now pretty much defenseless. Obviously, the army will be returning, but they'll be super tired and probably under-provisioned, etc., from their journey and battles, which is perfect timing. Apple says, Apple says, Toby, Joey, let's attack Muse immediately, which made me go, huh? I don't know what that line's supposed to say, but it obviously ain't that. Did y'all notice that?
I did not notice that.
I didn't notice that, no.
It happens pretty fast, but I actually went, wait, what? And then I went and watched a Let's Play to rewind back to it. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. So Toby and Joey decided to go attack Muse. Oh yeah, Joey's good now. No. Just to be clear, for anyone I make confused with my dumb jokes, that's a joke. So we decide that Toby will lead the army, with Hauser as general, with Apple and Klaus as strategists. Shu and Kiba will stay behind to protect the castle. As we get ready to go, Shu tells Apple to remember that, quote, every lie contains truth, and every truth contains a lie. We're actually going to attack from the direction of Green Hill, so we warp back there to prepare, but it'll take a while. So Nanami asks us to walk around with her. She didn't really get to explore this place last time, ignoring, of course, the fact that I came here early in the game out of sequence, but I guess she wasn't there for that. Or she was spaced out. Anyway, oh shit, as we're walking through the town, we see Lucia at Nanami's, she runs off, but Nanami says, chase her, so we chase her. We chase her into the forest, and she leads us right to Joey. Heck. So we got another dramatic scene with Joey. Joey says he's asking this as our friend. Please step down as commander of the state army and run away. He doesn't want to fight us. Nanami, astutely, is like, how about you just step down as commander of Highland, you dork? And he's like, ... I can't do that. Which is super lame. So then Joey raises his hand in the air, and we also raise our hand in the air, and our runes glow. Joey's sword and Toby's shield. Joey says ever since we got these runes, we've been destined to fight each other, but he still wants to believe we both gained something from this experience. He's going to bring a new order to this land. He leaves. So, as we've said before, we then do a big fight to take Muse. Let's see. Cool. We're only fighting against, we're fighting against Lucia and her Kanaya army, though Joey and Colgan are also there with forces, but like behind her. After a bit of fighting, Colgan tells Joey, quote, preparations are complete. We're not sure what for, of course. But Joey says, first Lucia's army needs to retreat to safety. But Colgan's like, no, we gotta go now. You can't save a small force at the expense of a larger victory. Joey's like, okay, yeah, you're right. So they all retreat, leaving Lucia all alone with her small force. She says, instead of being mad at this betrayal, she says it's worth it if she can buy some time. As we totally rout this smaller army, her troops say they will sacrifice themselves to save her, and she escapes as we take Muse. As we enter Muse, the ominous music is playing, and we feel like something is off. Also, there could still be enemy soldiers in the city, so we square the heck up. But no one's around. We enter the castle, and a giant fucking golden wolf boss happens. Yeah,
just chilling in the castle.
So you know how this game will just throw dungeons at us because it's an RPG and you got to have dungeons. Sometimes it throws big monster bosses at you because you have monster bosses.
At least this one's got an important plot reason to exist, though it is a little weird. If we just fought it and beat it, it would just be a random boss. But actually, we fight it to no avail, and we run away. It chases us all the way out of the city. Fuck. I guess
there are lots of others.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. I should have mentioned. There's a whole bunch of them. Why have an army guard a city when you can just have a bunch of giant wolves? So Luke tells us that the name of the monster that the monster is because of the quote beast rune. Oh, I actually wrote beat rune. That's funny. Quote, yes, I heard it was passed down from High Priest Sasarai to the Blight clan. Remember Luca Blight? When Highland divided from the Holy Kingdom of Harmonia. They've become servants, slaves to that rune. Basically, remember earlier when a gazillion Mew citizens all got sacrificed to some giant weird thing in the sky and it was fucked up? Apparently that was to summon this giant fucking beast. All these beasts, rather, with the beast rune. We can't beat it, but we could destroy the rune, which doesn't seem to be here anymore. So, suddenly, it turns out that the Highland army is attacking from the north and east. Another part I liked a lot. We're like, well, they're attacking from the north and the east. Let's escape to the west. But Apple, presumably because we had some good intel, recognizes that the good scouts. Apple recognizes that the attacking army is very small. So, therefore, escaping to the west is probably an ambush. Like, these little armies are just there to make us run into an ambush. So, instead, we're going to spear directly north into the enemy army, break through them, and escape that way. Smart idea, Apple. It works. There's not even a cutscene or a battle. They just say, let's do it. And then we do. And now we're at the castle.
I feel like the game is just skipping a little bit. Like at the end, it's like, oh fuck, we gotta finish this kind of thing.
Y'all complain when there are military battles. Y'all complain when there aren't military battles.
I'm not complaining here.
Oh, no. I'm saying beat plot-wise, it makes sense to have a military battle because they're prepping you, right?
Yeah. Well, that's even the thing. Maybe they decided that they didn't want to have any more battles because there were too many of them, but also narratively, this has to happen as far as like the military, like the like moves and counter moves of like the strategy of the game's plot. So they're like, well, this has to happen, but we don't actually want to make the player fight, so they did it. So back at the castle, we're like, well, fuck, like. It's kind of been a bunch of ado about nothing, kind of. Like, not nothing. We've accomplished things, but it's been difficult. You know, it hasn't just been as smooth as we wanted to. So basically, our army and the Highland army are pretty much just staring at each other across the lake, waiting for the other side to make the first move. However, we do have a few advantages. First of all, even though they did technically secure an alliance with Matilda, it's not so secure that they can't just that they don't still have to leave a relatively large force there to stabilize things, garrisoning the place. Otherwise, they might turn traitor. So they're stuck doing that. So if we have another distraction, we could split the army even further. Shu asks Kiba to take a force to Victor's old fort from way back in the beginning of the game. If you recall, that's far to the east, right on Highland's doorstep. Now, this is obviously a decoy, but it's a decoy Joey will pretty much have to respond to, otherwise we would straight up invade Highland unopposed. Imagine if we invaded Highland. That'd be crazy. Kiba says he's been so inspired by Toby's leadership and has seen that the forces of good can work miracles if they try hard and believe in themselves, blah, 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 blah. So, instead of taking a significant chunk of our army, Kiba says, I think I can accomplish this task with only my former Highland soldiers. Shu says Godspeed, and Kiba exits. Shu now addresses Toby. He says, this is the final moment. Both armies are reaching their limit, and the decisive battle has to be now. He gives us a choice to either stay the course or take, quote, the path of kings. We take the path of kings. Is there even a choice here, or is it just automatically in the dialogue. I don't remember.
It says we'll fight or I can't not yet, and the Let's Play doesn't even say what happens if you pick no, so I'm guessing maybe it's a but thou must. But
Gotcha. Yeah, I couldn't even remember.
I was too role playing gamed at the time.
Yeah, I thought maybe the picking I can't was like a, I gotta go prepare some, which would make sense. Like most of the time in this game, they give you a chance to go explore and recruit and do your equipment before saying yes. But it wasn't presented that way. It wasn't presented as, are you ready to go or not? It was presented as, do you want to do this or not do this? So yeah, I didn't pick it either. Anyway, so everyone assembles. Now that Joey has taken Matilda, the Highland Army is about 55k to our 25k. But Shu has a prediction. He predicts that Joey will send a much larger force to stop Kiba than Kiba's own force, which will bring it down to 30k versus 20k. That's right, we're sending 5,000 people over to do a distraction, and we're predicting that they're going to send 5 times that many, 25,000 people, the size of our entire army, to stop them. I think that seems a little ridiculous, but I will spoil it. He's right. So, Shu says that this will be our final, this is going to be a brutal battle, and if anyone wants to leave, there will be no punishment. But all of our characters give their inspirational line saying they'll fight to the end, and then we get to make a dialogue choice, except the only choice is to say, everyone, lend me your strength, which I found very cute. I also see in the walkthrough that if you have all 108 stars here, Leknot appears and gives you a super badass spell. Nice. Bernard, you did that, right?
Yes.
Nice. So you got a super badass spell?
Yes.
Love that. Did you use it? Is it good?
It heals up to 2,000 HP for all party members, which is overkill.
Yeah, it's a lot of HP.
Humphrey has like the highest HP in the game, and right now he has like 700 for me.
Cool.
That's
Love
ridiculous.
So we turn in for the night, and we wake the next morning to see Kiba off, which is always bad news when there's a specific cutscene to see someone off on their solo thing that they're going to go do, right? It's not good. The spoiler or warning to anyone out there who might be engaged in some kind of military or violent conflict in the future, just in case any of us ever have that problem. If someone's going off on their own to do something important, just don't say bye. Just go do something else, and they can just leave on their own time. Trust me on this, okay? So anyway, in fact, better yet, have like your second in command make up the entire plan and dispatch person without telling you. That way, instead of them dying tragically, they'll surprise you by showing up and doing the thing that you didn't even know they were doing, right? So anyway,
whatever you do, don't discuss it before it happens.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't know what's happening, it'll succeed, and if you do, no, it won't. Anyway, Kiba has a touching moment with his son Klaus, telling him how proud he is of his boy, and etc. And they both promise to fight their hardest, which again, really bad news. We march north from Green Hill toward Matilda and meet Highland in battle. Sure enough, Leon isn't there. Hell yeah, the decoy worked. However, everyone fucking else is. Joey, Colgan, some other guy, Yuba, and even Gorudo.
Monster Mash, Zumacroon, Velasquez.
Anyway, that bastard. So to arms. The fight is long and tough, and there are a few surprising turnarounds. But long story short, we win. We almost capture Colgan, but don't. Dang. The major turnaround here is that partway through the battle, Colgan appears, even though he'd already showed up in a dialogue box earlier, but his army wasn't actually on the screen. He appears behind us and is like, we flanked you. And I'm like, fuck, they're the first one to think of flanking. But then we have a surprising group of reinforcements that we didn't even know was going to be there. So see, there you go. You can't know about it. They show up, and then we manage to rout and again almost capture Colgan. Afterward, I'm not going to go into it because it's not really very important, but basically we're like, who are those reinforcements? And it's a bunch of our party members who weren't combat members, like the people who we recruit who just hang out at our castle and do castle shit. They actually took up arms in the fight, which is really cute. It's a really sweet little scene. Yeah. So anyway, we won. Awesome. So now the next battle plan. So again, really cool thing here. So during that battle we just had, apparently some soldiers who used to be Matilda Knights snuck into the enemy side. And, you know, in the chaos of battle with 25,000 people, you can't exactly remember who is or is not on your side. So they pretended that they were just, hey, we're Matilda Knights, we're loyal to Gerudo. So they successfully infiltrated Rockaxe Castle. So the plan is the entire state army is going to fight the entire Highland army, well, the entirety that is here, luring them away from the castle. Then we'll take a small force, enter by the door, which our spies will have already opened, go to the top floor and burn down the big flag waving in front of the castle that everyone can see, and replace it with our flag. Somebody brings up that this isn't Halo, taking the flag doesn't win the war, but then Shu explains. Currently, Matilda's alliance with Joey is very shaky. It's very, very shaky. We know that the leader is a total coward. He'll just probably take least resistance at all times. By replacing the flag, it'll probably... Actually, we don't replace it. We just burn it. By burning the flag, it'll probably trick a lot of people into thinking that we have successfully taken the castle. And probably, hopefully, it'll cause those knights to either defect to our side or at least just be demoralized and give up. That'll swing the battle to us. And if this doesn't work, our entire army will be annihilated. For sure. No pressure. Once again, I must give the game credit for not only coming up with a very clever and interesting military situation, but coming up with a completely non-contrived and totally sensible excuse for the player to get to control a 6-person party that is actually important to the overall strategy. Good job. So we start the operation, and so far, so good. The enemy forces run away from our castle, the spies open the gate, and we're about to enter when we receive a message from Kiba. We read it. It goes into a cutscene to show us what happened, but it's a very, very short cutscene. Basically, Kiba and Leon engaged in one-on-one combat, and both of them were mortally wounded. Well, fuck. On one hand, taking down the seemingly invincible Leon Silverberg is a fantastic victory for us. But also, R.I.P. Kiba. We also realize we're getting towards the end of the game because our main characters are starting to die.
Yep.
We go through a long-ass dungeon in Castle Rockaxe, and as we get near the end, there is a cutscene. We think that we're safe, but a big mass of forces is coming after us yet again. Our entire party, except for Toby and Nanami, say they'll stay behind while we go ahead and finish the job. So just the two of us go, and we enter a very, very dramatic room, which does like the Chrono Trigger side view thing that we all love so much. And as we cross the room from left to right, who do we see on the right side of the screen? That's right, we see Joey. Here we get to a very critical scene in the game. He says, I can't let you pass, and we can either refuse to fight or say, I'm going to get past you. I choose the latter one in this case, which immediately makes me feel very bad because Nanami begs us to stop fighting and says, what the hell? Why do we have to fight? Joey says it must be fate. We have people, I got people, or he's like, look, Toby, you got people counting on you, relying on you to save them and protect your country. I also have people counting on me, relying on me to protect my country. Nanami says, that's a load of shit. Genkaku didn't believe in that destiny crap, and neither does she. Neither does Nanami. Joey finally kind of says his motivation. He says, this land ain't big enough for the two of us. He says that, remember that day when all the mayors of the city-states met in the second episode of this season? And when they met, even though this country, the city-state of United City-States of Joustin, even though it was ostensibly formed to have a cooperation between all these different cities and have one unified government, it's still full of this constant internal strife and bickering and mistrust, which really just proves that different states can never really get along. He's like, if this one country can't even get along with itself, how on earth could two different countries get along? So he's going to create a new unified kingdom that is neither Joustin nor Highland. A single nation maintaining its rule by a strong force is the only way to have no war. So Joey's about to finally fight us when, on the far left side of the screen, Gerudo shows up behind us with archers. He says, what a nice surprise finding you here. I'm going to end this all right now. He orders his archers to fire. Nanami steps in front of us, in between the archers and Toby, and says she's going to use the technique she learned from Genkaku. So she extremely coolly slices all the arrows out of the air, right out of the air, defending us one by one, but it's not enough. One of the arrows finally hits her, and she crumples to the ground. I'll say it's very clear that she is breathing. Okay, so don't freak out just yet.
I'm freaking out.
But still, it's
freaking out, man.
No, I was also freaking out. But I am very, very glad that the game's graphics used bespoke sprites to show you that she's breathing here.
Yeah. When I said I wanted new bespoke Nanami sprites every week, I didn't mean like this.
Yeah. So she's laying on the ground heaving. Gorodo approaches the three of us and says, the archers failed to kill us, but he'll do it his damn self. Angry and feeling betrayed, Joey fights with us against Gorodo and his men. Incredible music plays as we use our buddy attack with Joey for the first time since like the beginning of the game.
I didn't use buddy attack. I was just using his crazy rune powers.
It made my heart hurt his buddy attack.
His rune powers are so good.
Yeah, I used his...
Well, I'm glad you all use his rune powers.
Yeah, he gets a FMV for his special attack. That's even really better than Sephiroth, which is super cool. But I did use buddy attack because I needed to, because he's my buddy.
Because they're buddies, yeah. So we defeat Gorodo. I actually didn't write this down. Is he like dead? Did we get his ass?
Yeah, we got his ass.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He flashes and fades away, which is JRPG for dying.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't leave a corpse and then leave the screen, which is how somebody comes back.
Yeah, JRPG for dying is their sprite literally disappears. They're definitely gone at that point. Anyway, after we defeat him, dead, good. Fuck him. The two of us, Toby and Joey, crouch next to Nanami. Joey asks if she's okay, and she says that she's happy to see the old, gentle Joey again for the first time in so long. Joey tells her he's sorry and tells Toby to take care of her, and then, clearly, extremely shook, walks away. It's not like a, well, bye. It's like, fuck, I was gonna fight you, and then this happened, and all I can do is just, to me, it almost feels like he's just too ashamed to stay in the room. Mm-hmm. So he walks away. Then Nanami tells us that she's going to be okay, but personally I did not find it very convincing. And then she says that she's happy. She's happy because even though she and us and Joey were not related technically, but she felt like she was in a family with the three of us and also with Genkaku. She asks us to call her big sister, and we have a choice to not do that, but why on earth would you not do that?
Whomst would do that?
It's ridiculous. So we call her big sister, and I'm assuming she probably smiles, and then she loses consciousness.
So, I was obviously emotionally distraught here, but I also was very, very glad that she died as your big sister, because we just made it through Trails in the Sky, and falling in love with your big sister that's not technically your big sister is a big trope, and I'm tired of it, and I'm glad that Nanami was just your sister at the end of the game. So, shouts out to Suikoden 2 for doing what apparently The Flash and Trails in the Sky couldn't do.
Good job. Anyway, she does not die. She loses consciousness, though her sprite does stop moving, and we all... Okay.
Well, so Toby's sprite, his eyes get really big as she stops breathing. She's not breathing. So it just indicates that she is dead, and it's not until the other characters come that we know what's going really on. So
Shu bursts in with some men and says, holy shit, get a doctor. So... whatever happened, he does say get a doctor. He takes her away, and we complete our mission. We go, we burn the flag, and it has the exact effect that was intended. The Matilda soldiers put down their weapons. But then, something really shitty happens. Joey, not for strategic reasons, but clearly just shaken by the preceding events. And this all happens in an army battle cutscene. Instead of Joey allowing us to land the final blow, he quickly manages to pull out his entire army, leaving us victorious, but not really in the way we wanted. So, back in the castle, we realize that the Highland Army is on the run, Two River City and Tinto City are no longer safe. We send some troops to fortify them. Then, we go to check on Nanami. The scene takes a bit, but I'm not going to waste everyone's time. She didn't make it. And it's really, really sad. And a lot of characters say that they're sorry they couldn't make it better. And no one is mad at anyone. Everyone is just sad. That's it. Pour one out for the best character in the game. But,
however, I believe this only happens if you did everything right. The doctor asks to talk to Shu in private.
Yeah. That did not happen in my game, but it happens in the Let's Play where they got all 108. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
But is that before or after the doctor straight up says that she died?
It is after
the doctor says, I wasn't strong enough.
Which he does literally say, by the way. Which I thought was a nice, funny little bit of accidental levity. Wow, that's okay. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that, especially considering from everything I've heard, getting all 108 stars is like it's not like a bonus. It's like that's canon. Like that's the real, that's the real game. That's the real ending. So cool. If it turns out that she ends up coming back to life or something in Bernard's version of the game, then that I will be happy because that's the alpha timeline. Anyway, we can't sit here and mourn. Shu tells us our next move. Highland is now extremely on the back foot. Highland's going to need to regroup. Before they do, we're going to do it. We're going to seal the declaration of no. We're going to attack the nation of Highland directly. Not the army, the country. The next morning, we give the order to begin the attack, but then we collapse? We got to the...
He does this a lot.
Yeah, we just totally collapse, and it fades to black. Cut to black. Cut to the
his
bad
big
guys.
sister just died. Give him a break.
Yeah.
What was his excuse the other 30 times this happened in this game, bro?
Yeah. Well, the particular way that it happened, I thought was going to be some kind of plot thing. But yes, it is just the same way as always, where you've been through a lot.
We don't have the research to know what True Runes does to the body.
Yeah.
That's true. So we cut to the bad guys. They're doing a big rally, and they're going to sacrifice Julia to an evil god to gain ultimate power.
This is so stupid.
Yep.
This is where I'm like, come on, game, really?
So that's cool. Anyway, but then Joey like low key collapses a little bit too, which is interesting coincidence. So back in the castle,
Did y'all miss the part where he said clean up the doll?
Yeah. That wasn't the real Julia. It was a doll for like hype.
Did y'all miss that?
I saw that line and just thought he was being weird. Like, I don't know, maybe he's using old-timey talk to call her a doll. So he pretended to sacrifice her to get everyone hyped up?
I don't know, but it's important to note that it wasn't just
to be clear,
clean up that doll.
Well, to be clear, we don't actually see him do it. They just say that they're going to do it. So
no, we do see him do it. He stabs the knife in.
He stabs the knife in there.
Were you paying any attention in this scene?
I meant we didn't see like a big demon appear and be like, you have power now.
Okay.
Because that's what they said they were doing it for.
Yeah, I didn't actually catch the doll scene. I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah, no, I saw the doll line. The idea that they would pretend to kill a doll was so bizarre I didn't even think about it. I was just like, that's weird.
Sam's good with the cutscenes. Sam's on it.
This is like, man, sometimes my girlfriend will say stuff to me and I'll not understand what he's saying. And then he'll be like, I obviously meant this. And I'm like, okay, but that's an absurd thing to say. Why would I possibly have thought that's what you meant? No, he's always upset. He's always confused because the thing that I thought he meant is also something really silly. And I'm like, yeah, well, if you say something that makes no fucking sense, I'm just gonna try to think of anything that would possibly be what you meant. And yeah, I know that what I said doesn't make sense either. What do you expect? Anyway, that's kind of where my mind was here. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, Bernard's explanation, I guess, makes sense. He's hyping up his troops. Which is more reasonable than Jillia allowed herself to be sacrificed. Also, that made me sad because she's a great character.
Or also,
but she hasn't even done anything.
Reading the thing,
yeah, but she might do something in the future, which is why she's an interesting character.
Yeah. I hear it.
He's so his line right before he stabs Jillia says, "In the name of the Highland Kingdom and the Blight royal family, I beg thee for victory. O noble beast rune, I sacrifice to you the blood of she who is dearest to me." So maybe Nanami already died, so he doesn't have to kill Jillia. Or something.
Oh.
Maybe there's some magic. Like, we forget because this game is played very straight. We are in a JRPG. We have to go to some Technicolor JRPG Dreamscape and fight God at some point.
That's a very clever reading, and if true, then that's pretty sneaky little Shakespearean type shit. Who knows? But yeah, let's just take it as a given that Jillian is either dead or not.
Yeah.
So anyway, back in the castle, Shu and Apple have a heart-to-heart. It's a relatively long scene that I won't go into. They're just talking about some strategic things and how they trust each other and how Apple really, all the history they have together. But then at the end, Shu puts 3 cards on the table and tells her to pick one. The one she picks has a picture of fire on it, and he just says like fire ... and walks off. And she's like, huh. So the next day we do the attack, and the army is being led by Leon.
Wait, we're doing the attack?
I didn't do the attack. I didn't do the
because he says he got the Rio says we're off to Ratatouille, and I said we are not doing that. We're telling him no and saving right there.
That makes sense. That was my first thought. I went back and overthought your own messages, Sam, because you said we stop before we enter Ratatouille. Technically, we're fighting outside Ratatouille. And after I'll just spoil it, after a bunch of stuff happens, we then literally walk into the city, and that's the final dungeon. But, okay, never mind. Then this is where we stop for the week. Which is a real shame, because the next scene's really fucking cool.
Speaking of the name of this city, is there something linguistically going on here that I don't understand? Or are they just trying to do a French thing where they put an L apostrophe and then the name, but it doesn't start with a vowel?
I would need to look up what the actual name of the city is, because to me it's just Ratatouille.
It's L apostrophe Renouille.
Yeah, Renouille.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to make up some French shit and not knowing how it works.
But you only do that if it starts with a vowel. Anyway.
But this isn't real France. This is made up France. Also, since when is Highland like French themed?
Well, that's
no idea.
For sort of mentioning, I feel like the geography got a little more confusing this game with like rock axe and sort of the choices. Well, I'm sorry. If we can talk about it, I didn't mean to start summarizing.
Oh no! Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, we're done for the week. So
okay.
Yeah.
Let's play that really great piece of music we had earlier when we fought What's His Ass as we transition to the next section.
Anthony, continue saying what you were about to say.
Yeah. So sort of like, and then this is maybe where I missed the Uber thing or forgot. But why Green Hill, like why we did that, like what strategically was great, because we have Teresa, then it was like made sense sort of thing. And sort of going after Muse, some of the choices, as thought out as the game has been so far, I feel like a lot of the strategic military like occupations were just like, yeah, because it's a set piece. It's the third act, and we need to start moving the plot along. And sort of introducing even this new town, which I haven't been to, but I imagine it's in Highland, correct? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, it's
the imperial capital of Rurunoye, which is what it is in the Japanese. So it's not. It could just be the localizers trying to make sense of the Japanese and make it not that.
Whereas I thought like Rock Axe would be was the capital or the castle. No.
That was Matilda. That we were just at the castle in Matilda.
Oh, see, I must have forgotten Matilda, because I remember sort of the mission and the war, and then like Muse and like not letting it in. I guess I'm just forgetting because it's been too long. But yeah, some of it where it was just like, what? Why are we doing this? What's going on? But yeah, Nanami dying was not great, and I'm very upset. But I'm happy because Sam told me when I jumped on that there's an alternative ending, maybe the true ending, and I'm going to pretend the true ending's the true ending.
Yes.
Yeah. Normally, I don't know. Normally, I can be a little iffy when it comes to annoying cop-outs where you thought someone died and the game's like, no, we don't actually want to make you that sad because we're cowards. Look, they didn't die actually. But in this case, if Nanami comes back at the end, if you get all 108 stars, first of all, it's not just the reward. Reward makes it sound too crass. It's the logical extension of completing the whole game is that the one thing that you really wanted comes back to you, kind of. But also, just given the way that this game's story works, it even if you didn't get all 108 stars, even if it just happened at the end of the game, like, oh, it turns out some crazy shit happened and she's alive actually. Given just the whole arc of everything with Nanami's character, I'll totally buy it, and I think that would be great actually, which is something I almost never say in other arts that do similar things.
It's actually even better than that. If y'all would like for me to spoil it now or spoil it next week.
Next episode.
You're always so eager to spoil stuff for me.
Why on earth would I want that spoiled?
Yeah, so we'll let Bernard talk about it next week, but it's really cool.
Now, if it's like a Persona 4 like you get a whole extra part of the game with an extra dungeon and shit to save her, that'd be even better. But don't you even say a single word, Sam.
Single word. But one of my memorable moments is when Joey raises his hand to show the rune of why you guys can't fight. It's a full on middle finger with the thumb out. Like there is no.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
It I cannot read it as anything else. Like I can't even squint and see what they were going for. They're just flipping each other off. They're like, why can't you fight? And he's just like, It's hilarious. Also, Nanami's response is wah 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 wah, which is
I skipped over that because I thought it was weird and went against the mood of the scene. Absolutely. Sometimes unintentional humor because of weird translation choices is appropriate, and other times it totally distracts from the mood. So I skip it.
One of the things I liked was Shu. We got to see his room multiple times. One where he talked to Kiba into doing the sacrificial lamb, and then the scene with Apple. There's a cat in the bottom that's very distracting, and I was just like, even though this dialogue is happening, I'm like, oh, look at that little orange cat. Was it always there? So cute. I guess he's a cat owner, and giving these little character pieces to their rooms, which I like.
Yeah, I also liked that twice this week, we woke up in the middle of the night, not for any important cutscene, just a bunch of optional cutscenes. Like, the only reason we woke up at night was to leave the room, come right back in, and try and get assassinated. But all of the other stuff you could do, like, you could run, and the first one, you could see the circus people, you could see Sai and his kid, you could see Chaco, and I don't remember.
So I skipped over all that stuff since it's optional. What I mean is I skipped over all of it in the notes. But if anyone wants to talk about any of those scenes in more detail, feel free to.
I only did the Sai scene, which was really sad. Just because, him saying if I don't make it back to his daughter is really like the fact that it is an anime, like, video game sort of cute caricatures. Death was a big theme this week.
Yeah.
Of the consequences of these wars and stuff.
Yeah, that's basically the whole theme of the game, which I really, really like. It never shies away from the, like, realities of us doing all this stuff. It's never Toby and his 5 plucky friends are going to go power of friendship and save the day. It's all like, so we're going to go send 55,000 of our men to die and hope for the best.
And I gotta say, though, the scene where you're like, where Joey's like, you have a bunch of people counting on you and a whole country that wants to, like, thrive and succeed, and that's why you can't back down. And I have the exact same thing. That kind of points to the whole idea of, like, we're only seeing one side of this war. As we know, just because the leaders of Highland are, in our opinion, being big old jerky jerks, like, Highland is a whole country full of regular human beings. Those human beings want to live in a country that is economically successful. They want to live in a country that is safe. They want to live in a country that has good crops and entertainment and secure trade routes and all this stuff. And it makes you realize, so they're really doing this thing where it's like just this relativism of, like, war's bad. The bad guys all have their own stories. You're just on opposite sides of a conflict. However, they kind of undercut it by making Joey just fucking insane and evil, which really cuts against it a little bit because Nanami really does go off on him. She's like, you could literally sign a peace treaty with us right the fuck now, dude. You could do that. And then he's like, I'm gonna sacrifice my wife to an evil god, right? I'm just like, all right, see, that goes against the whole we're both just on different sides and both want the same thing. But you could say that I thought that, and I was thinking that for most of this week. However, when he gives his little motivation about, or in retrospect, when he gives his motivation about how he wants to have a single country, like, he's like, no, like, yes, both sides have good reasons to fight. Yes, both sides just want to be happy, and it's just two countries with irreconcilable differences. And, being a human being means sometimes different humans have wants and needs that conflict with each other, and you have to work them out. The only way to get rid of that is to make it where there's only one country. So he is trying to sort of supersede that issue. Which is wrong, but at least that does do less to, instead of undercutting that point, it does sort of highlight it, actually. Of like, this is always how it's going to be. I want it to not be like that anymore by being a psycho evil villain.
There was a part of me that thought that plot-wise, it was going to be Leknat that was going to be a villain. Given that she gave both Joey and you the runes and keeps telling you that you guys are the conflict.
Who knows?
Yeah, I guess it's true. I haven't beaten it, but I just kept not necessarily, because it feels like it's like there's a big force, and obviously that's what the Nanami was against, was fate and whatnot. And I just felt like Leknat was the most representative of that. I don't know. But just a theory. I'm sure it's wrong. I'm sure she's like...
There is another line in this week that I didn't put in the notes where someone is like, who is it actually? Maybe I did put this and just skipped over it. Actually, I thought that I told... Oh, right. It's in the part we didn't get to because y'all didn't play it. Never mind. There is another character. There is some dialogue at some point about someone who gives an impression. Well, I'll just tell you, it's Leon, okay? Because he's the guy we're about to go fight, right? Leon has some lines about like making history follow a certain path and stuff that definitely points a little bit to like, oh, you're trying to do some weird fate guiding humanity from some higher vantage point thing beyond just your immediate political interest. So yeah, what you're saying, I think you might be onto something, because there is this other thing that sort of supports that view of things.
Yeah.
Did I tell you all about Leknot's role in the first game?
No.
I don't think so.
So basically, Leknot does the same shit in the first game. She helps you. You don't get your true rune from her. The main character in the first game also has a true rune. But she guides you and is mysterious and everything. And her sister is the big bad of the first game. And she's helping you defeat her. And then at the end of the first game, you don't even get to fight her. And the final boss that you fight doesn't even have unique boss music. It's bullshit. So that's not relevant. But yeah, Leknot is in the first game and does basically the same mysterious guidance stuff. And her sister is the big bad.
Interesting.
So then, most likely she's not going to be bad, because it's like
she never gave off bad vibes to me, frankly. But I do think that what Anthony says is like, oh yeah, that does make sense actually.
I really liked. I mean, I hate the scene when Nanami and you're waiting outside the room, but I did like the realistic that there's a lot of people she touched, and all the characters were there to support you.
Yeah, no, it's a really.
I thought that was really great. The character development in these pixels are just so good. They did a really good job of creating unique personalities in each of them.
Totally.
And also, although they suck because they're sad, the bespoke animations for the entire last Nanami scene are fan-fucking-tastic. This game continues to just do the thing.
This game once again makes me be like, why did we stop doing this? We need to bring back extremely high budget two-dimensional pixel art games. I know that it won't happen because that's not how the business interests works. But it's just like, man, look at what they did in this game, and imagine if like this art form had just continued on for another decade instead of it becoming apparent that games had to be 3D now. Nothing against 3D games or anything, but just like, man, it looks so good. Same way I feel the same way about. I feel the same way every time I play like a game with really good pre-rendered backgrounds. I'm like, man, pre-rendered backgrounds are so fucking good. Imagine if we had developed them for 10 more years or 20 more years, I guess in this case, because this game did come out over 20 years ago.
Yeah, and like nowadays, when you get a high budget, hand drawn sprite RPG game, whatever of any sort, it uses fucking Dragon Bone animation and it ruins it, and I hate the way that it looks. I hate it so bad. If only we just had like, oh, we're going to just hand draw and animate because it's quote unquote pixel art here, but that was the highest resolution they could do. So if you just continued at the highest resolution and you just did this now, it would be fantastic.
Exactly. And I'm not saying there aren't any games doing this kind of stuff, but, well, I can't think of any JRPGs. A fighting game, you're still fighting the good fight. Well, no, most of them are 3D now, but there are some games out there fighting the good fight, but it'd be really cool if, it would just be nice if it'd be nice if the pixel art in this game did not make me pog because it wasn't so unusual.
The only games I can think of that are actually doing this style of animations still to this day are indie beat 'em ups. And they're doing it like Streets of Rage 4 is like HD high quality, but it's hand drawn animations everywhere. Those are the only ones I can think of that are still doing this, but HD, and that's a big shame. There should be more. Sort
of to Sam's point, there's this game Sea of Stars. It's very Chrono Trigger looking, and it's pretty new. I don't think it's. I'm trying to think if it's released yet. But
their website still says upcoming. So. Yeah,
but the art is very everything you want, Maddy.
Nice. I had not heard of it. It sounds dope.
But my last memorable moment, I did the chef contest. Have you guys done that? Have you guys ever?
I have stayed far away from that because I keep doing it by accident.
Yeah, I did it for the first time, and I thought it was amazing. It was so ridiculous. It was all of a sudden all the recipes and everything. I'm like, oh, this is why this is why we have this. Yeah, this makes sense.
I did it for the first time on accident, and then I did it for the second time because I had like 7 recipes in my inventory, and I needed space to go buy potions to face the rock monster.
There's just a lot of good bespoke animations of like chopping, simmering, and then the chef like cheering. It's really cute. Sort of speaking to the art of the pixel or the 2D animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sea of Stars looks fantastic. It has mostly bespoke animations with a little bit of dragon boning, but not a lot. It looks really good. I'm excited for that game now.
I know. I was like, oh, good.
Now, games shouldn't have dragon bone animation, but dragon boning, perhaps.
Yes. Or a bone dragon like this game has.
Yes. The Bone Dragon's animation was not Dragon Bone animation, and for that I was very excited.
God bless.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Anyone have anything else? Bernard, you didn't mention any of yours. Do you have any?
No.
Cool. So, you know what my memorable moment is it happens every 2 to 3 months on RPG Book Club, and it's when we record an episode saying, guys, I'm putting my finger on the scale, I want to play Persona 2, and then all of our voting members so far have voted for Shin Megami Tensei 4. So go and vote for Persona 2. I really want to play it. Like,
I want to play Persona 2 significantly more than I want to play Shin Megami Tensei 4. Yeah. Nothing against... Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, no. Shin Megami Tensei 2 is the game that I want to play so much. Persona 2 also looks dope, though. I got no dog in this fight.
Yeah, I really want to play Persona 2, and I know we've already played a Persona game, so it's cheating or whatever, but
actually,
I don't care.
Persona 2 is more old-timey and clunky and weird. Yeah. So I'm gonna say that you should vote for that one as well. There you go.
Yeah. So if you would like to vote, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club and you can vote for either the Persona 2 duology or the Shin Megami Tensei 4 duology. That's right, we're playing both games for whichever one wins. We're going to be at this for a while, but it's okay. Now that Eli is gone, we can play two hard games back to back and just talk about the good parts and be super happy with it.
To both parts of it?
And Shin Megami Tensei 4, both parts of it.
Oh, I forgot that there were 2 parts of that game as well.
Yeah, this is our you got your long cast in my main pod. And so we're doing duologies as a halfway point between long cast and regular cast.
Nice.
Yeah, super excited for that.
Oh, that's a fucking lot. God fucking damn it. Why are you doing this to me?
Because right after it, we're doing a short cast and we're playing either Crusader of Sinti or Beyond Oasis.
That's also good.
Yeah. So
Beyond Oasis looks dope.
Yeah. So go and vote for which duology you want us to play and make sure that it's Persona 2. Thank you kindly. That's the one we want it to be. Of course, we are fair and suckers for money. So because you donate to make these polls, we will do whatever you want us to do. But it would be real cool to play
also,
Persona
like
2.
SMT4 looks like it fucking rules. Like I ain't gonna fucking complain that much. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be happy either way, but I'm like itching to play a Persona game, and I don't want to start Persona 5 Royal 2 weeks before we might be starting Persona 2. So
I like Persona 2's graphics a lot.
I really like their graphics. But go ahead.
I was gonna say your main character has a purse, and when she walks, very like her purse moves, and it's always so funny to me.
That's in 2.2.
Oh, 2. Oh, is it 2.2? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, your main character is just some dude in Persona 2.1. But anywho, if you like what you heard today, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help us keep the lights on, help us pay for games, those sorts of things. And when you do donate, you are able to vote and tell us what you want us to do next. You also get access to our Book Club no Kiseki episodes a month before everyone else. And any and all donations fill up our jar, and when the jar is full, we do another season of our side podcast of Shortcast or Longcast. The current jar we're trying to fill is for Metal Gear Solid, and I'm super excited for that. So for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
Maddy Grace Clevin.
And I'm Anthony Lerma.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye.